What if one man's footsteps could redraw the future of the world? What if a single journey on foot would shape Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the three world major religions, and billions of lives? 4,000 years ago, one man walked out of his homeland, not knowing where he was going, only trusting a voice. His name was Abraham, and this is his life on the map. Abraham was born as Abram in Ur of the Chaldeans, a wealthy and advanced city in ancient Mesopotamia. It was a center of idol worship, filled with temples and false gods, but something inside Abraham would not bow. This is where his story begins, but this is not where it will end. Abram's father, Terah, led the family north to the Haran. There they settled and remained for a time. Life became stable, and the journey seemed to stop. His father died in Haran. Then a voice broke the silence. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household to a land where I will show you. There was no map, no clear destination, only a promise. Abraham obeyed. Abraham took his wife Sarai and his brother's son Lot and walked south into the land of Canaan and arrived at Shechem, near the oak of Moriah. There he built an altar to the Lord, marking the land with worship. From Shechem, Abram moved to the hill country between Bethel and Ai. Once again, he built an altar and called upon the name of the Lord. Every stop became a prayer. Every altar became a declaration of faith. Then he continued his journey into the Negev. But faith soon met famine. The land dried up, and food disappeared. Forced by hunger, Abram went down to Egypt. Since his wife Sarai was very beautiful, fear entered his heart. He thought Egyptians would kill him and take his wife. He told Pharaoh that Sarai was his sister. Pharaoh took Sarai, but God intervened, protecting Sarai and striking Pharaoh's household with plagues. Pharaoh sent Abraham away, and Abraham left Egypt wealth in livestock, but heavier in wisdom. He returned to the Negev and then back to the hill country between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had first built an altar. There he again called on the name of the Lord. Abram and his nephew Lot had grown too old to live together. Their herds were too large, and conflict arose between their shepherds. Abram chose peace over power. He allowed Lot to choose first. Lot looked toward the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley and chose the land near Sodom. Abram remained in the land of Canaan. God then told Abram to look in every direction, for all the land he could see would one day belong to his descendants. Abram moved his tents to the oaks of Mamre at Hebron and built another altar to the Lord. War soon spread across the region. Kings invaded the land, and Lot was taken captive. Abram gathered his tribe men and pursued the invaders as far as Dan and then to Hobah, north of Damascus. By night, Abram attacked them and rescued Lot, along with all the people and possessions. Years passed, but Abram still had no child. Sarai, in her desperation, gave her servant Hagar to Abram as a wife. Hagar conceived and gave birth to a son, Ishmael. But tension filled the household. God appeared again and changed their names. Abram became Abraham, meaning father of many nations. Sarai became Sarah, meaning princess. God promised that Sarah herself would bear a son. The promise seemed impossible, but God declared that nothing was too difficult for him. Abraham traveled again through the Negev between Kadesh and Shur and settled in Gerar. There, God revealed that Abraham was a prophet. Abraham prayed for Abimelech, and God healed his household. At last, Sarah conceived and gave birth to Isaac. The child of promise had arrived. Laughter filled the chains of Abraham. But conflict returned. Sarah demanded that Hagar and Ishmael be sent away. Abraham was deeply distressed, yet God told him to listen to Sarah. Hagar and Ishmael walked into the wilderness, where God provided water and promised to make Ishmael into a great nation. Two sons now called two destinies. Abraham settled in Beersheba in the land of the Philistines. Then came the greatest test of his life. God said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him as a sacrifice." Abraham obeyed without delay. He climbed the mountain with Isaac at his side. At the top, Abraham raised the knife. At that moment, God stopped him. A ram appeared in the thicket, and Isaac was spared. Faith was tested, names was revealed. After this, Abraham returned to Beersheba. Sarah later died, and Abraham returned to Hebron in the land of Canaan to bury her in the Cave of Machpelah, which he purchased as a burial place. Before his death, Abraham sent his servant to find a wife for Isaac. Rebekah was chosen, and she became Isaac's wife. Abraham later married Keturah and had more sons, but he sent the sons of his concubines away from Isaac, eastward to the eastern country, so that Isaac alone would inherit the promise. Finally, Abraham died at a good old age, full of years. His sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him together in the cave of Machpelah beside Sarah. from Ur to Haran, from Shechem to Bethel, from Egypt to Hebron, from Beersheba to Moriah, Abraham walked by faith. He never saw the nation God to rise from his obedience. He never saw the billions who would call him father of faith, but the world still walks in his footsteps. Sometimes, the most powerful map is not drawn with ink, but with faith and obedience.